So here we are out today. We're gonna set up my trail cameras out in some typical Albertan bush, out in my too many moose stakes area. This is a real good little spot for grouse in here, rough grouse, we call chickens. I want to see if maybe we'll find a few sheds or some interesting mushrooms or something. Here's my dogs. Found a little spot where the deer have been drinking in a little puddle here on the trail. That's why it's often hard to pinpoint deers and stuff, because there's lots of these little depressions out in the bush where they can drink. They're all over the place. Surprisingly, the mosquitoes aren't too bad. Okay, you guys ready to go? Well, the recreational quadders have found our trail here. As you can tell, they're mucking it up and ruining it pretty much once and for all. But the moose are still moving on here. I'm seeing some deer tracks, but obviously if I set my trail cams on it anymore, it's just going to be one quad track picture after another. So we're going to move up a ways and then we're going to head off into the boonies a bit. Gatoniolo would call it the boonies. We're going to head off into the Alberta boonies, get off the quad trail. These quads they can go forever. We just saw a nice big buck deer back there, but too far in the brush. It's really dense, so hopefully we might spook a moose out of its bed or something. Anyway, looking for some unusual mushrooms or sheds or something that we might see, and then I'm going to leave my cameras here a couple months, and because this is quite a ways from our house. It's an hour and a half drive to here, so out in the boonies. So this is well in the boonies here. Okay. The mosquitoes are getting worse. I'm trying to keep my dogs from going ahead of me, because here's some timber wolf tracks moving up here. So this is why I like this quad trail. It's an old cut trail, and when I first found this, there wasn't any quads on it. Elk used to wallow and bed right on it. Anyway, there's some wolf tracks. Not a big wolf, but it's big enough. I think I got it on record, guys. Say something optimistic.
We're out hunting Sasquatch. We're going to find it.
Yeah. Not, eh? Actually, this is where we were followed on the too many moose stakes thing, and followed right back to the van. And it was one of our suspicions is that it possibly could have been Sasquatch. So you're going to have your eyes sharp here. I don't know if you noticed, I got a 12 gauge with some serious 1 ounce slugs at 1760 feet per second. Winchester Super X is 3-inch Magnum. Just want to show the kind of erosion that this thing has gotten in less than 1 year. Just basically a spring of being discovered by quadders. And this is the type of erosion that's become a creek. And that's at least, well, to there, I have a 10-inch span, so that's at least 15 inches deep that's eroded and become a creek now, in maybe a 6-month period, if that. So, as you can see, this recreational quadding, I mean, it gets out of hand, and then they find anywhere there's mud. They don't go hunting with their quads and tread lightly. They go and they find a spot, and as soon as they find mud, they roar back and forth through it and create a giant muck hole that you can't even haul a moose through or anything else. It's just ratched. So I just wanted to show that. So again, despite the fact that it's on the well-used quad trail, here's elk tracks. Looks like a small cow maybe. It just came out of a trail over there. So I might consider putting my camera on that trail. But I mean, it's just one set of elk tracks, but over a period of a couple months, probably other elk will come through there. This one will probably come through there again. But it just shows you, even despite the quadding, and you can see here, you can't see the quad tracks anymore, and quads have been through here in the last few days. But this is a very fresh elk track. But what happened, there was a big rain, and so it actually becomes a creek. And that's the trouble, is as soon as they start digging these things out, next thing they're 2 feet deep, 3 feet deep, and it's just a wash completely. And it's ruined. If you try walking through here at night, you'll break your ankles. Anyway, there's an elk track. Moving our way. Okay, so heading along here, you can see I'm just gone a few feet down the road, and here's some moose tracks again. And this is a different moose that came out from over there. Or the same moose coming from a different area on a different time. But these are only maybe 2 or 3 days old, because it rained heavily actually last night and snowed too, believe it or not. Okay, June 4th it snowed.
This is less than 6 months of damage. This used to be the ground level right here, where the root is. So since 6 months ago, it's eroded at least 8 or 9 inches. And up here, this used to be the trail, and in a few years it's going to erode out into there, and you're going to be able to pass by here anymore. It's amazing how just a couple of stupid people can ruin the entire area.
This used to be one of the best elk wallows in the country here, and now it's basically just a quad wallow. I mean, if it's left, it'll go back up into grass. You can see the grasses, like swamp grasses are growing in there. But I mean, the elk aren't coming into it. This used to be infested with elk in here, but with once people start discovering the seismic lines, then they open it up with a recreational quadding rather than 1 or 2 or maybe 3 hunters in the season coming through a recreational quad through here, hundreds of quadders at times, and the animals basically just abandon it. I mean, there's still animals as I've shown, but you know, I haven't seen any animals other than mule deer or white-tailed buck, sorry, back a ways. But I mean, you used to walk through here and the elk would jump out of the side. And we'll see if that happens, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, I'll be more, I won't be amazed to see 10 or 12 quads come down the trail here pretty quick. That's about it. Strangely enough, the animals are still moving on here, so I would like to put cameras here, but I don't want to sort through 800 quad pictures. Toss start. As you can see, you can't even walk through here basically anymore, not enjoyably. Now I'll just come with toss start, and we'll step off the quad trail and just show what it looks like normally. Well, there's the quad tracks, deer tracks in them, and come this way. And here's, this used to be the elk wallow entrance into here, and this was the elk trail, and you can see there's no elk tracks on it at all anymore. It's dried up, but anyway, look at how dry and normal it is. So if quads start following through here, this will, in no time, look like that. It'll just turn into a big muck bog. And nice and dry the trails are. You can see there's moisture here, and if you start digging at it, pretty soon it starts collecting rain and it starts washing out, but there's not much elk moving on here anymore. You take a picture and do like, well, look at that for a nice hunk of bowwood. We're not rich with hardwood bowwoods here in Alberta, but birch is a good bowwood. You have to make your bow 2 inches wide, okay, and 67 to 68 inches long for your typical flat bow type. And you know, the bigger the tree is, obviously the flatter your back. But see how here you could get a nice flat back, but birch has to be 2 inches wide. But I mean, it's a plentiful supply of bowwood in here. And a tree like this, you come to it and whack out down and split it off with maybe an antler wedge or whatever you have, and just leave it sit in the tree. It won't check. So you can leave it there, then take it out without killing the tree, which I think is the way to do it. Anyway, this is a typical Alberta aspen, if you like, forest, which we call poplar. These are crumbling aspen, and some of them get pretty big. And this is the same area as with my too many moose steaks. And you can see the grass in here. The one thing I can tell you is there are animals lying down in here right now, and they may have heard me and are disturbed and may not have been disturbed. In any case, I see the mosquitoes sucking my wife's blood away on her hands as I'm looking at it. But anyway, yeah, this is your typical aspen forest in Alberta. A bit of birch, and you can see your funguses here, that your tinder funguses and stuff, not true tinder fungus, but false tinder fungus starting to grow on that one. Horse hoof conch killed this baby. That's what killed it. So you can take this here, because it's got the oil in it, never rots. You can make your cups and stuff out of that without killing a tree. Well, let's follow this trail and see what we find. Deer bed. Deer bed, I thought. Wood frog, eh?
Here we found a scrape that was most likely made last year. And up ahead here, we found some deer hair, which is kind of interesting.
This deer either got shot by a hunter or had a bit of a brawl and lost.
That's right.
Shaved his hair off.
So you can see this is an old scrape from last year, and this is a real staging area. Maybe bucks have fought in here. Be a great place to put my camera, like in October or something, but it's June right now. And the only incidental mushrooms we found are these ones here, which are gilled mushroom, and I'm not sure what they are. Anyone can feel welcome to tell me, but what I'm really looking for is morels. If I find morels, I'm going to be happy, but so far we haven't found any morels. And you know, in the bush area, not much sign of fresh game in here either, to be quite honest. So you can see here the deer use this area. You can see all the poop from last year. It's really old, but they're hiding from the hunters in here. You can see how they go underneath here. I mean, they're going to look through the little holes, and they're going to know you're here long before you know they're hiding behind this copse of spruce. This is very typical. You find these small copses of spruce in the poplar. So if you doubt the power of funguses, have a look at these logs that are in here. And if you look over here, that big log that's come down, if you look here, that's this log going that way. I mean, that's a pretty good sized stump, probably close to 20-inch diameter or so. And incidentally, there's your ready-made fireboard. Okay, this takes, it's awesome how this takes a bone drill fire. Okay, and you can just make your drill out of another piece. You don't have to go get another piece of wood. That's all BS. Okay, look for a harder piece that's in this. You know, you're not going to make it out of a punky piece, but if you can find a real, see this piece on the side here? That's pretty hard. I'm not going to yank it off. Anyway, a piece like this or this, it's hard. Your drill should be a little bit harder than your board. And this stuff here, you see, I can just pick it with my thumbnail, and that's a good thing. So you can see that, you know, with very little work, you can, you know, make it pop apart. We're running out of video, so anyway, you know, I'll take my knife and a baton or whatever and knock it apart. Again, you can see where a knife comes in, or a hatchet in the bush, right? And anyway, remember that. Black poplar, or this is actually this is a black poplar, sorry. So cottonwood, this is a cottonwood, which has come down here. Black poplar, which is not the aspen poplar, which is those big green ones back out in here. And this is not a good place to be in a windstorm, I gotta tell you. The wind's getting high enough right now, I'd actually like to be out of here. Alright, toss start. And this is the culprit right here, the conch fungus. You can see it goes all the way up that tree. And see here? See here? This is another tree, which it's taken care of. That's the power of mycelium. It's just demolished that tree. And you're thinking of setting up a tree stand, you may not want to set it up on one of these, okay? So here's a nice moose bed, maybe an elk bed. We found a big grizzly bear bed in this same area, a couple hundred yards over, a couple years back. And you see, it looks like maybe a calf is laid there. This whole area where mutton head is laying there they use this a lot. So nothing coming out of it, but anyway, there's our first moose or elk bed. In case anyone's doubting that's a wolf track, this is a certified 100-pound dog, Patches is. So there's his paw compared to that track.
This is something we found, and it is a wild clematis. It's just gorgeous.
Well, I decided to put it where the moose or elk bed was, because anywhere else here we can just see that water, you're going to find it. This is just my first time doing this stealth cam stuff, so, you know, I obviously don't want to lose my camera. I have a farm lot that I can use for white-tailed deer. We'd get moose and stuff, but out here there's a good chance of getting grizzly bear, timber wolf, cougars, and so forth, but this isn't really a trail. It's where a few animals go in all kinds of spots. Like if you keep going through here, there's obviously going to be hundreds of beds in here. We've already found probably a dozen deer beds and a couple moose beds, and this is the best moose bed right here, so at least I'll get this moose or elk, whatever's coming here and lying down. You can't really tell the tracks here very good in the grass. Anyway, I'm putting it here because I don't want my camera stolen. I know I'm not going to probably get a timber wolf here, but yeah, we'll come back in a couple weeks and see what we got. Toss start. Okay, here's a lesson for you. I bought brand new batteries for my stealth cam and this one, so now I'm hoping this one's batteries will work for me. I'm down to my Tasco camera because my brand new batteries, all the problems that I've had with my cameras starting out was because I bought brand new alkaline Energizer batteries and they were kaput, every one of them. So I'm probably stuck out here now. Be lucky if I get any pictures. So I wanted sound video. Now I'm going to be down to just taking some pictures. Toss start.